Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right, so today I am going to do what I said I was going to do. Basically, what was it, last week I said I was going to do a series, and my plan is still to push forward with this. So as you're aware, if you watch my other vids, I'm going to go Chucky, and we're going to go with season 1 episode 1. So I'll go through with you episode 1 today, and then 2 next week, and 3, and so on. So I'm going to try and keep this going and see how it goes. So if you guys end up watching it with me, great, thank you very much. If no one watches it, then not a problem. I will still carry on and do it because I haven't seen season 3. So effectively I have to go through it anyways, so why not watch it week by week? And if anyone follows me and watches it with me, you know, it's all good, it's all good. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So going forward, I will start it today, and then Thursdays I'll keep the same, do my normal vids, then weekends my watches. So I'm going to aim for 3 vids a week. God, 1 was a push when I started, and then I went on to 2. Now 2 is definitely a push. Now I don't know why I'm going for a 3rd. No idea why I'm pushing to go for a 3rd, knowing I don't know where the time's going to come from. I'm going to end up doing videos and not watching anything. So no idea how this is going to go, but let's see. But yeah, so let's start today with episode 1. Okay guys, so let's start with episode 1. So this one's called Death by Misadventure. So let me show you the season 1 disc. So Blu-ray, just standard, nothing fancy with this one. It's got 2 discs, 6 episodes in total. So as you can see by the front cover, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 characters and Chucky on there. So they're the main characters of the story of season 1. So if you are aware of Chucky, then you'll know the characters already. If you're not aware, great, not a problem. I'll just run through the characters with you guys. So let's start off with Jake. So Jake, at the front and center of the picture, he's the main character in this. So he is how to best describe him? Bit of a loner, not many friends. He is gay also. He's into dolls as well. So the age group of these kids are 14. So the dolls he is into is he kind of like builds like a big sort of like a mannequin like size doll, and he'll get other dolls, take their arms off and legs off, and he'll try and make his own design basically. So that's what he does. So that's Jake. So Jake's got dad, and that's it. So it's just the 2 of them. His mum died years ago, so it's just him and his dad. And then we've got Devon. This kid here is Devon. He is a podcaster. So what he does, he just does podcasts on things that have happened in Hackensack. So as you're aware, or if you're not aware, Hackensack is where Charles Lee Ray is from. So Charles Lee Ray being the famous killer in the original ChildsPlay film, and then obviously Soul is into Chucky. So he's now, obviously he is the doll now. So so Devon, he does the podcast on past things that have happened and current affairs also. And then we move on to Junior. So this is Junior. So him and Jake are cousins. So basically his dad, Jake's dad, are brothers. Actually, identical brothers. So they're actually played by the same actor. I'm pretty sure that's right. I don't think they are real twins, and it's one actor playing both roles. So yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, so he Junior, they're a wealthy family. So it's Junior, his dad and his mum living together in their house. And then we move over to here. So this is Lexi. So that is Junior's girlfriend in episode 1. So best way to describe Lexi is she is I guess, popular. She's the popular girl in school, and she's also the bully. So that is probably best describe Lexi over here in the first episode of this first season. That's how her character is. So where do we start? So, you know, let's start right at the start. You know, I'm not going to go through every bit of the episode. I mean, you guys can comment and tell me what you think. You know, any parts of the episode that you enjoyed. So it basically opens up with just a camera shot going through a house, and you can hear breathing, and then it's pretty much like the start of Halloween. You just see the camera roll through the house, the original Halloween, and then we end up in a bedroom, lady in the mirror doing her hair, exactly the same as Halloween. Obviously you don't know who the person is, all it's showing is a camera, and as the camera gets close to the lady turns around, and then basically that scene ends, and then we end up seeing Chucky's face as a close-up, and as it pans away, then we just suddenly see a lady doing a yard sale, and Chucky is part of that yard sale. And that's where we first see Jake, and he's obviously looking around for bits, and he comes across the doll, and they come to a how much does he get it for? $10. She wants 20. I think they work out a deal for $10, and he ends up getting Chucky for $10. So he brings Chucky home. Obviously the dad's not too impressed, because, you know, the dad's a drunk as well, by the way. So he's always mad, he's always drinking, so he's not the best character to be around. And obviously he doesn't like his son Jake being into these dolls, especially at 14 years old. So you know, you can see where he's kind of coming from, but hey, each to their own at the end of the day, right? So yeah, so when he goes home, he looks online basically to see how much the doll's worth, and then he can see that people are selling it for 500, 800, 1,000, 1,500, and he's like, whoa, you know, it's quite a lot of money I can make from this doll. So goes online, and then one person you can see comes in and says, you know, I'm very interested in the doll, how much? And then we get a phone call, and this is where the nostalgic sort of thing happens, you know. So when you get to hear the phone call, if you've seen the original films, then you automatically know who that voice is, and we all know it's Andy from the original 2 films. So Andy's the voice of the person on the phone. So he's basically warning Jake, you know, is his name Chucky? Check the batteries, standard stuff you've seen in other films as well in the past. So he's giving him a heads up basically about that. Anyways, so he ends up going to the school with the doll. Tries to put it in the locker, doesn't fit in the locker. Then you see him in a biology lesson. You see him, and they've got a frog to dissect. So you've got Jake, and Chucky's right next to him. Jake doesn't like doing all this dissecting stuff, makes him queasy, but as soon as he does a bit of cutting, he cuts, you see a bit of blood comes out, and then he goes all a bit funny, turns away. When he turns back, obviously you don't see it, but you know Chucky's gone to town on the frog, because he's just dissected the whole frog, and he stuck the knife in the heart as well. And then the teacher comes back, and she's like, yeah, that's not how it's meant to be done. So that was quite funny, you know. There's bits that are quite funny in there. And while this is going on, because Lexi, like I said, she is a bully, because she found out that Jake is selling the doll. She thinks he needs money, so she sets up this donation page, basically trying to humiliate him, you know, trying to get some money for him. Obviously she comes across like she's trying to do a good thing, but obviously we all know that's not the reason, because everyone laughs when they find out. So how does that scene play out? So that scene plays out with Jake asking the teacher if she can look after the doll, put it away somewhere, as he doesn't fit in the locker. So that's what they do. So where do we end up? Actually, the scene before that was a talent scene. So we see them all in the on stage. So basically, we see Devon play on the piano, do his bit. Then we see Lexi going up, and she kind of she takes a mickey out of a few people, and then you just hear Chucky's voice in the background, and he's behind Jake. Next thing you know, Jake picks up Chucky. He says something to Jake. They end up on stage, and then it's basically like Jake's a ventriloquist. Is that the right term? Let me know if I'm wrong. I think that's correct, but I might be wrong. So when you talk, but the puppet's doing the talking. So that's how it looked. So then Chucky went to town on a few people, and that bit was hilarious. That bit made me laugh. So yeah, so that was that bit. And then the next bit, so where do we end up after that? So we basically end up back at the house, and then we see Dad not happy, and he's basically smashing up his doll. He's smashing up. Then he tells Jake to grow up, stop playing with dolls, and then made him stay in his room. And then the Chucky doll is kind of flinged downstairs in one corner. And then next thing you see is the Dad looking for his drink's completely empty, and the doll's gone. And then the next thing, boom, all the electricity goes out, and then the Dad has to go downstairs and try and work it out. And this is where we come to the first and only kill of this episode. So then, as the Dad's downstairs trying to flick all the switches to get lights back on, he flicks one switch, and then bam, one of the lights comes on, and then you just see Chucky just standing there down in the corner. Water on the floor, and then Chucky just lets water out of his mouth, and then it just electrocutes the Dad. And yeah, and then obviously Jake hears it, comes down, and then he can see his dad getting electrocuted. So pretty good kill. Yeah, that was a nice little first kill. And then yeah, that's what happens there. And then after that, we get the police. So obviously the police come round, and this is where we get introduced to Devon's mum. She's a detective, so she's obviously come in and finding out what happened, and they basically called it death by the title of this first episode, which is Death by Misadventure. But the mum has got a suspicion that it was a bit more than that, but that's what they called it for now. So from there, Jake has to go and live with his uncle. So he's basically moved in with his uncle, and obviously Junior and the mum, and Junior and Jake, they don't get on anyways. They're not friends or anything. They don't like each other. So he moves in there into their big mansion, and then we've got so what happens from there? So yeah, when he moves in, he knows something's going on with the doll. He knows. So he tries speaking to the doll, and he's like, talk to me, and then this is where we see Chucky come to life basically for the first time, and he talks to Jake and tells him his dad deserved it, and then he basically says we need to sort out Lexi. So Lexi's next on the list now because of how she is. So that's that scene, and then basically we just go to the start again. So you go through to the camera moving round to the bedroom, and then what we see now is the full scene. So the camera goes up, goes up to the mum, who's obviously doing her hair, and when the camera comes close, she turns around, and we end up seeing that it's young Charles Lee Ray, and then she's basically got him on his lap, looking in the mirror, and that's the end of the episode. So, as an episode itself, good episode. Had a bit of everything, death, got to know the characters, and then we got to see a bit of Chucky as well. So it was a good episode. It was a good opener, I feel. So yeah, so that was the first episode. So I'm trying not to talk too much, try to keep this too long. So I'm trying to condense it. So I'm not trying to talk about every single thing that happened. I'm trying to get the main bullet points. But let me know if I can improve on it, which I know I always can. And if you are enjoying this as well, as much as the other stuff I'm doing, then throw me the old thumbs and hit the old sub if you like. And yeah, it's always appreciated my end. So yeah, so I guess with that being said, that's the end of episode 1, and I will see you next Tuesday for episode 2. But I'll be back for my standard video for Thursday as well. So yeah, so that's me all done for today, guys. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll catch you at the next vid. Alright guys, take care.